Burkina Faso has banned colonial wigs. These lawyers' wigs that they put on their head, and judges too, they wear them. But I want to ask, why do Africa still wear these wigs? After all the colonial era, we are still putting on these wigs. Well, the good news is that Burkina Faso say they don't want it anymore. They now have their own attire in the law court. Not only that, Ibrahim Traore also banned Western fabrics. So he banned all this okrika. You are seeing it there. He now approved their locally made fabrics to be used across the nation. And let me tell you, Burkina Faso has one of the best natural cotton. In fact, they have it in large quantity. The people of Burkina Faso, you guys are so blessed to have one of the best presidents.
Greetings, everyone. I hope you are fine. I hope you are doing well. And I would like to thank you for taking your precious time to watch this video. I always hear people say so and so is the gold. So and so is the gold. It can be in soccer, it can be in tennis, and etc. and etc. And I just want to use it in context again and say Ibrahim Traore is the GOAT. I like this type of leadership style because you don't have to go to parliament and decide whether these colonial systems, colonial items or colonial wigs should be abandoned or not. That's not the case. So the most important thing is to just make a decision to say, you know what, we have to do away with this. Ibrahim Traore is the GOAT. However, I'm just a bit worried because this is a sign that in 2024, Africa is still colonized, but not just colonized, but colonized to the core. In other words, Africa right now, as we speak, is colonized to the core. That is why others are like, freedom is not free. Because when someone gives you freedom, it means they still have power to take it back. So same applies to Africa. That is why Africa is still colonized. And I may not be accurate when it comes to this, but I believe that these wigs might be more expensive than an iPhone. There's a possibility. There's a possibility that these wigs might be more expensive than a computer. There's a possibility. Why? Because as long as you are asleep, and not just asleep, but lacking confidence, then it means people can sell anything to you. In other words, people can sell anything to you. In other words, people can even sell a bag of grass to you. In other words, people can sell just a normal rock or an ordinary rock to you and you can buy it. Why? Because you lack confidence and you don't know what is going on. And on top of that, you are captured as well. So if someone tells you that this country here in Africa received independence in 1960 something, 1970 something, 1994, and etc., you have to know that it's a lie. It's not true. It's just on paper. But practically, you can tell that Africa is still under colonialism. So that is why you need someone like Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore reminds me of a king by the name of Josias in the ancient writings. So when he took over, the ancient writings tells us that he imitated his forefather or emulated his forefather, which was King David. In other words, people felt his presence when King Josias took over. This is what Ibrahim Traore is doing. Since he took over, he keeps on making decisions every day. In other words, Africa can feel his presence, but not just Africa, but the system itself, the colonial masters can feel his presence. But what I like is that he's unique, he's peculiar, because he's doing everything on behalf of his people. He's not oppressing his people, but instead he's freeing his people. And what I like about Ibrahim Traore is that you can only do this only when freedom has a price. You can only do this when freedom has a price tag in it. This is what happened, because when he took over, that was a symbol that freedom of Burkina Faso is not free. That is why even today they can still feel his presence. This is what I like about this man Ibrahim Traore. That is why I always say those countries like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, they have set up a standard. They have set up a standard. So if, for an example, in your country, you say this man can deliver us, this man can do the right thing, this man can serve the people, but he has to meet that criteria, that standard of Ibrahim Traore, that standard of Mali and Niger. Otherwise, then it's fake. Otherwise, it's fake. I can see that now other presidents are becoming brave, but they have to know that there's a standard. Ibrahim Traore has set up a standard. Some people may call him a dictator, but he has never, like for an example, initiated a decision or made a decision that is against the community or the people he's leading. So media will always lie to you and tell you that this style of leadership is not good at all, is oppressive, and etc. and etc. You cannot waste your time and go to parliament just to decide whether we have to abandon the colonial systems or not. So you have to bear in mind this thing is more psychological than you can imagine. Because if you lack confidence, you can do anything. That is why the likes of King Leopold II and many other people like H.F. Verwoerd here in South Africa, many people dealt with Africans psychologically. That is why we don't have these African leaders as puppets for nothing. They are puppets psychologically. It's not just maybe a made-up thing. It's not only about money. It's not only about money. Even that thing of money is psychologically. So that is why Africa is still oppressed even today. Why? Because freedom is on paper, but practically, when it comes to the mineral resources, when it comes to lifestyle, then you can tell that Africa is not free until you are able to make decisions by yourself. Until you are able to make decisions by yourself, then you are still not free. You're still not free. So now Africa has a problem of emulating other countries, thinking, okay, if we can live like Europeans, if we can live like these people, then it means we are okay, and it means we are fine. That's not true. As long as you think of, like for an example, living like the colonial masters, thinking like the colonial masters, you are still not free. Freedom is not free. This is a sign. This is a sign. In other words, you can only do this when you paid something. When you paid something to get freedom. In other words, Ibrahim Traore paid something to bring freedom to the people of Burkina Faso. So I just want to repeat and say, indeed, Ibrahim Traore is the GOAT, and he has set up a standard. And if there's a leader who calls himself brave, he has to look up to that standard. He has to match that standard of Ibrahim Ibrahim Traore. For an example, if a brick should be tested, it has to be tested by the original brick to make sure that it complies with the standard or it matches the standard. So Ibrahim Traore is the man.